morning! Tonight, we awake to find ourselves in a dark room full of people all named Darren. There are a plethora of flamboyant potatoes on the table of wonders, but they are only reserved for those of us who die. If you're wondering what the hell I'm talking about, luckily we've got a man here who can explain it to us. This is Mr. John Robertson, creator and purveyor of the dark room.
Hey. You awake to find yourself in a dark room. Pick an option.
Right, so, I remember first being made aware of the dark room on a show called Video Game Nation.
Have you noticed how shoes nearly match? This is uncomfortable.
And it was...
That's episode 2 of Video
It was
Game
when it was
Nation.
still hosted by...
Emily and Adam.
Yes.
Adam, and he of course is a very talented comedian, and she's a very talented YouTuber. And I was very happy when they left the show and I got their jobs.
You stole their jobs.
I did not steal their jobs.
You did. You came over here.
They did.
You took the jobs from two hard-working YouTubers.
Well, to be fair, a YouTuber getting a fixed salary immediately stops being a hard-working YouTuber.
This is very true.
That's right. That's why you have to pay them nothing but a pittance. I say a cent per 1,000 views, which is literally what they get. I have YouTube videos that are literally raking in the threes of cents a month.
Wow.
Yeah, I tell you, mate. You know.
So what? You're still monetized?
Oh, of course.
Jesus.
Yeah. Well, the nice.
How? Teach me. Jesus.
Well, I'll tell you how. The nice thing about the Australian accent and about talking really fucking fast is that the algorithm actually can't pick up when I'm swearing, and so all of my videos are tagged as advertiser friendly. Isn't it fun? And I am a foul-mouthed son of a bitch, and it does not pick them up. For context of what we're talking about, two people hosted a show that was on Challenge TV, which was literally viewed by nobody, and then I got a job, and it was still viewed by nobody, and then they brought it, well, it was viewed by him, but he was a nobody, and then, and then they brought in the fabulous Dan Ma and the fabulous Aoife Lockhart, and they are both just tremendous video game journalists, and they would do really nice in-depth magazine style coverage.
Yes.
And then it would cut to me kind of just sort of doing like, hey guys, high five, here's a top 5 list of some bullshit. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, don't play Destiny. This shit.
Fuck Destiny, fuck Trump. Yeah. That was pretty much. I started getting when Trump was nearly, because this is how long ago the show was cancelled, during the lead up to the 2016 election. I started getting hate mail from angry Trump dads, and one guy said this. He was like, you know, if you don't stop making fun of Trump pushing your liberal agenda, they're gonna cancel your show. And then the show got cancelled, and he genuinely messaged me, and he's like, see what I told you?
I did this.
Like, he genuinely was like, yeah, I've had real influence here.
It was a great show.
Oh, thank you.
It was enjoyable. I mean, it was, I grew up with Games Master and Bad Influence, and then all of this was taken away from me, and I was like, there's never going to be a video game show on TV anymore.
And then there was.
Yes, and
then it was taken away from
you.
Because the production company that made it decided that esports would be the future. I will also just point out that not just that esports would be the future, because some of you might go, oh, well, they are. They're filling stadiums. Esports will be the future on television.
True. It is. I play rhythm games competitively. It's just put up on YouTube, so it's
on television. On television. As one guy said to me, why would I watch 2 weeks late in standard definition the thing that I could watch live in HD on my computer? It's a good question, mate. It's a good question, but I lost my job over it, so there you go.
But you're now out touring this wonderful...
I'm having a great
this wonderful live-action video game.
We're having a lovely time.
Can you tell us about the concept of the dark room? Where did it come from? Where did you come up with the idea?
Well, I can tell you about that.
Yes, come on.
Well, what happened was I was sitting around the house one day and I was like, oh, well, video games are shit. Old 80s text adventures are shit. Because I remember, as a kid playing them, but not having the nous to do things like map them. So they were frightening and alarming. And I was like, oh yeah, and I came up with a little bit, and I ran it at a comedy night on a Tuesday. And on the Saturday night I was performing at YCon, which is my old hometown of Perth's largest anime convention, or it was at the time, and it was wonderful. We had this big 3,000 seat theatre, and we'd fill it every year for the cosplay competition, and me and my mate Eugene had hosted, and it was just a great time. And because I was a working comedian, they'd be like, oh, do you want to come and do our Saturday night entertainment? And so one year I did my show, Dragon Punch. And Dragon Punch had gone to the Edinburgh Fringe, and it was just an hour-long an hour-long story about me not quite punching out my father-in-law at a barbecue because I genuinely tried to do the Shoryuken from Street Fighter, and having never been in a fight, I went, well, fuck it, I'll show you something. Quarter circle forward heavy punch, and I missed, and I sort of jumped screaming into the air and sort of spun around, but it broke up the fight he was having because they were just so baffled by what I was doing. And he leaned over to me, because he's a big old Texan, he leaned over to me and goes, oh, it was a good try. Well, whatever that was, we don't know what John was doing. All right, man. I saw a fist in there somewhere. Good on you, you know. It was a lot of fun. And I was doing this for the Wycon crowd. Yeah. And they were always super cool because they were really fucking vocal, and they love a chant, and they love to heckle and have a great time. And the show started getting a little bit out of hand, and I was like, well, I got to punish them now. I got to punish them. And I was like, yeah, let's do the bit about the fucking shit old video game where it's like, you're weak to find yourself in a dark room. And the minute I said that, well, the heckles just started being like, I escaped. No! How? You're in a dark room. And we just started playing. And I got I got the tech staff to turn off all the lights in a 3,000 seat theatre, and they violated health and safety regulations. They turned off literally every light.
Just to do this?
Every light, like all the lights, all the stair lighting. No one could fucking move without falling down. And for 40 minutes, it was longer than the actual show.
Yeah.
Right, we just started doing this. By the time I got home, people were doing fan art. It was fucking great, you know. And then my mate Bob Slayer, who's a very talented man, goes, oh, you used to do something with that. That's actually a pretty good approximation of Bob's voice. Anyway, yeah, so we did that, and then Bob Slayer was like, oh, you should do something with YouTube. And so we made it like a clickable YouTube adventure. And then that went viral, and that was cool, and I ended up in the Washington Post and on NPR, and just all this shit. It was fucking great. And then my mate John Hayward, just people are good. Just people are nice, you know. John was like, oh, you should do it as a live show. I can rig up an Xbox controller so you could pick the options. And he's like, and we'll make you some software. Yeah. And he and his mate Jetta made me some software, and I made the map. And then we just went, and then Edinburgh Fringe, day 1, 2012, audience of 4, right? Show went for 20 minutes. By the time they left, I turned to my wife and I'm like, fuck me, this thing's got legs, because I'd never seen an audience of 4 have such a good time. Yeah. And then it was full. And then we've toured the fucking planet in leather trousers off the back of that. Not bad.
It's amazing to me.
Uncomfortable in Singapore. You know, lot of sweat there. Lot of sweat.
It's amazing to me how you can be doing a show to a massive, like an Insomnia gaming audience.
Yep.
And get an amazing response. You can be performing into a pub of a much smaller crowd. Like the first show I came to see you in was Leeds.
Oh yes.
And then we came to see you in Manchester a couple of months ago. Small pub, same atmosphere. No matter where you are, same atmosphere generated. It's a show that translates well to all. What's the word I'm looking for?
Sizes of audience.
Yes, all sizes of audience.
All venue capacities.
Yes, it's a perfect
Have
version.
you got an arena? Do you have people you reckon could fill it? Tell them someone else is on. See how you go. Thank you for the compliment.
No, it's deserved. It's a great show. It is.
Thank you.
So, how did the flamboyant potato come to be? Because I remember it was originally called a high self-esteem potato.
It was originally called a high self-esteem potato.
At a Manchester show.
It was. And like what I used to do, I've spent a lot of time in grocery stores and discount stores buying props and trying to figure out what they are. Yeah. And like what I used to do is I would go, it started off in Edinburgh, and I'd go to a Poundland that's not there anymore, and I would get this gardening stake, right? It was just this metal spike with a handle, and we used to call this a medieval abortion kit, right? Which was a lot of fun and nice to do. And then it was stuff like that, but like that kind of was a very hit and miss ratio with that one. And there used to be I'd get a shower cable, like one of the ones you have for a movable shower head. Like this Cyberman's spine. And Doctor Who was a lot more popular in 2012, or at least the Cybermen were, because that joke stopped working after a while. And you just kind of things move. And then just for a while, what I had was I had a cabbage, and I would go a UKIP voter. So the flamboyant potato was originally. Thank you for remembering. It was a high self-esteem potato. And then one day I was like flamboyant potato, and that just really hit. That just fucking like I'd been pulling up things and people liked them and they thought that they were funny, but then I used to show everything that was on the table of wonders at the start of the show. But then one day I went this flamboyant potato and it got a round of applause and I was like, all right, well that's fucking gold, right? And then after that, I never reveal everything that's on the table. I just go this flamboyant potato, and people lose their minds. I don't know why.
There's one memories of a Marks and Spencer sandwich.
Yeah. Oh yeah, things like
one.
that.
Yeah.
I still do that. It's like an installation entitled "Fuck I Love Pepsi Max," which is just a whole bag of empty Pepsi Max cans, or my favorite one, which is when you really build up something and you're like, see, I understand that you like video games. I understand that, but what you got to understand is that right here on this table, I have an original copy. And you legitimately have to have it. You can't lie about it. But it's things like, I have here an original copy of the legendary game for the Dreamcast, Shenmue, legendary JRPG, Shenmue. And the most important thing is, and you pick it up and you go, I still have it, and you put it back down. And people lose their minds for that.
Yeah.
It's nicely pantomimey cruel, but yeah, the flamboyant potato is what's there. I mean, the flamboyant potato is... There's a group on Facebook called Darren's Flamboyant Potato Appreciation Society.
It's a great name for a band.
Oh, they're fucking great. And I think it's a Kinks concept album, as I recall. And they post photos of various flamboyant potatoes they found. They're the fucking best.
Yeah.
Things like that, they're cool.
Sweet.
I never said you were alone in the dark. There were 4 little girls with you, and you just abandoned them. Now they're dead! How does that make you feel? Ooh, steal that thing. Yes!
Right, I got some video game related jokes.
Oh, let's do it.
Not jokes, questions.
Okay.
What is your earliest video game memory?
My earliest video game memory is playing, oddly enough, the New Zealand story. The game of the Kiwi jumping. I played that. It must have been on somebody's PC.
Might have been on maybe on an Amiga or an
It
Atari ST.
It might have been on an Amiga. I do know a guy who I knew a bloke who had an Atari, but that came later. There was a guy who had a Commodore 64, and we played both Year Kung Fu, which is great, but also Jack the Nipper, which he insisted on calling Jack the Stripper, which I didn't know because I couldn't read.
What video games are you currently enjoying?
Well, at the moment, my entire household is very excited. I cracked out the PS3 again, and a few years ago, when I moved to London, I was playing Dead Space with my wife on the PS3,
Nice.
and we heard some screaming, which was coming from nowhere, and I, being aware of the a plot twist coming up in Dead Space, was sort of like, no, it's the game, and it was only when the lights coming through our window, revealed themselves to be police lights that we realised that the house down the road was being raided, right?
Right.
Okay, so that, and then we kind of, we just put away the PS3 for whatever reason, okay? I pull out the PS3 again the other day. We're playing Grand Theft Auto 5. I've moved house, but I've only moved around the corner from the old house.
Yeah.
Right? There was screaming, and we heard a guy go, "You stabbed my brother!" And there was just some bloke who genuinely stabbed another guy. And my wife, after we got over what had happened and we called the cops and all of this, my wife went, "Turn off the fucking PS3." And yeah, so...
Is it a magical PS3 that is controlling the world around it?
Just that neighbourhood, apparently.
Wow.
Yeah, one time with the drugs bust, and one time with a proper stabbing. So we're kind of, at the moment, we're mostly just sort of looking at the PS4 going, well, fuck, don't turn that on, the fucking world will explode. But yeah, aside from that, we've been replaying Dynasty Warriors 8.
Sweet.
Which has been brilliant, my God, I'm actually pretty good on the Three Kingdoms period at the moment. I'm pretty good on the Romance of the Three Kingdoms trivia, but merely because I just learnt it through, Guan Yu is running this way, things like that. So, oh no, the bridge. It's some of the worst voice acting. It's incredible.
It's not as bad as the original Resident Evil voice acting. That'll always be the worst.
You were
always.
The Jill sandwich. Yeah, no.
Jill, wait. Don't open that door.
Yeah.
You know, and probably some people watching this are too young to even remember the original Resident Evil. They only remember the remake.
Yeah, mind you, mind you, it could be a character in Dynasty Warriors, but the amount of like voice samples, because when guys get picked, they say a thing that makes sense to say in romantic Chinese literature.
Yeah.
It says, I fight for the glory and freedom of our kingdom. They're sort of overdubbed by these kind of anime voice actor 101s who are all trying to be Shinji Ikari from Evangelion.
It's like the Namco.
Oh no!
The Namco school of voice acting.
Yeah, it's just things like, they've gotten the ballista out. Like, oh no, unfamiliar word. And also the fact that, you know, like, they don't always fact check the pronunciation of the names.
Yeah.
So we're hearing Sao Sao a lot. Sao Sao is on the bridge. Sao Sao is running, which is fine. And then one guy goes, oh no, Lord Cow Cow is here.
Right, yeah. I have 2 questions for you that don't relate to gaming.
Oh no.
One of them I know is up your street. Oh. The other one I'm not too sure, but I thought I'd ask.
Don't come up my street. If I play the PS3, someone's getting killed.
Firstly,
yes.
What are your thoughts on the upcoming Bill and Ted movie?
Ah, well, Bill and Ted is a movie that my mother and I watched.
Which one? Or both of them?
No, just the first one. We never made it to Bogus Journey. And she loved it so much that we must have rewound the history sequence 4 times.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things where I don't get hung up on remakes of things anymore.
Yeah.
You know, because, I mean, I'm a 32-year-old man. I was born in 1985. Realistically, everything I love has either been remade or retrodden a whole bunch of times.
Yeah.
It never takes away the original. It doesn't really change anything. Mm-hmm. That's the thing you find out. It's not like they're erasing the tapes to replace it with this thing. Look, I'm happy that the bloke who isn't Keanu is getting some work. Mm-hmm. I'm thrilled for him. Obviously, it's upsetting that George Carlin can't do it.
True.
But I will just say, I mean, I assume they've made the film already. I don't know. You fucking, just quietly, and my wife will lose her mind when I do this because she's so fucking sick of hearing about this guy. You know, if you can't get that George Carlin, I hear that Mark Maron's available. You should get that comic Mark Maron, because I listen to his podcast at the gym.
I just hope it's going to be good.
Yeah, but the thing is, I won't go see the new Bill and Ted because unfortunately, right, and this is just something that I don't know, I hope more people realise. When I felt like an alienated loner in the early 2000s with my trench coat, I didn't realise, of course, that there are things made for alienated loners, you know. And now my little act of rebellion, right, is it's like, all right, here's a movie being marketed to a 30-something-year-old nerd. I'm not going. I don't care. I go and I see the movies I want to see or my wife wants to see. My wife loves the Marvel Universe. I don't give a fuck about the Marvel Universe. Why did we go and see Black Panther the other week? Because it was happening at a special cinema where we got to sit in a fucking spaceship. So they still get me from time to time. Let's be fair.
We haven't seen Black Panther.
It's
we
great.
saw Infinity War. That's the last one we saw.
No,
it's just spoilers.
No, look at that. Look at that bit of cultural conditioning. Oh no, I couldn't possibly enjoy a film unless I literally know nothing about it.
The soundtrack from that movie is amazing.
Oh, it's incredible. You got the touch.
Yes. This is exactly what was in my head at the time you mentioned it. I was like, just completely in my head.
Weird Al Yankovic's Dare to Be Stupid. So good, so good.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Right. WrestleMania.
What
were your highlights? Because you didn't do a live stream, you didn't do your commentary, did you?
We did the commentary.
Oh, did you?
We did it the next day.
Right.
Because I went down to the Clapham Grand in London, and I and a mere 500 other screaming, yowling wrestling fans watched WrestleMania. And yeah, you know, the highlight was every women's match. Charlotte versus Asuka was fucking outstanding. Nia versus Alexa Bliss was a good bit of clear-cut storytelling.
Oh, yeah.
And nicely inverted from how it would have been years ago, which would have been, this fearsome savage monster is beating up the pretty all-American girl. You know, I mean, they're still working in simple archetypes there. Because the idea of the little blonde, bitchy, mean girl, you know, it's overdone.
Yeah.
But at least they managed to make it a positive story. And Ronda Rousey's debut was fantastic.
It was.
As Kurt Angle leaves wrestling, Ronda Rousey steps in, and she's fantastic. Everything else, to me, other than, oddly enough, the tag team matches, right, was a mind-crushing bore. You know, it's going to sound remarkably stupid, but let The Undertaker die. You know, like he's had several good send-offs now. It's that thing where, okay, and I think some people can relate to this, all right? If you have a terminally ill relative, you are going to be sad about that in a really direct way when you get the news, when the symptoms manifest for fucking ages and ages, right, as it happens, right? And when they die. If, however, these three things happen, and then 10 years occurs in the middle of that, you have people who eventually say shit, and they don't like saying it, but they go, well, they've been ill for so long, it was a relief. You know, they mean it was a relief for them, and they mean it was a relief for them as well. And it's getting like that with The Undertaker. It is sad to watch him come clicking down to the ring. It is upsetting. And then it's just things like, here he is at the greatest Royal Rumble. Why? Oh, the High Prince of Saudi Arabia wants him. Is that enough reason to do anything? You know? Oh, I'm letting women drive now. Fix everything else and then you can have the fucking American TV.
He can't do what he did years ago, but he's still... It's still... I don't know what it is. It's still iconic for me to watch it because I remember him when I was a child. And again, it's the nostalgia value.
Yeah.
There's if they want to make him disappear for good, I want to see one more. And I want to see a fight between him and Shinsuke Nakamura. I don't know why I want to see that particular fight. I just want to see those two fight each other.
No. Look, I don't know, man. I watched Mania. The women are doing fucking brilliantly. The thrill of, look, we've got some indie guys among the men has dissipated entirely. You know, now they're just fixtures, right? They've become those guys. And, it's, you know, like, okay, hey, look, everybody, Sami Zayn's still here. Is he? That's good, isn't it? You know? And one thing I just got to say is this weird thing, and WWE always does this. It's this treating of guys like they're new talent or young men, right? When they've been around for fucking ever, except some of them. Right, and they'll always sort of be treated like rookies on some level. Yeah. And I noticed that, you know, like when the indie guys came in, it was still that sort of young boy thing. Yeah. Even though they were acknowledged, like, it was revolutionary at the time that they were going, this Kevin Owens, he's been around the world, this sort of thing. But it's like, They anoint one hero in the form of Daniel Bryan, and then the others have gone sort of straight to the mid-card, and they're all very talented people, and they're all very talented supporting acts, but it's just one of those times where I'm like, I'm sorry, I'm not a teenage boy anymore. And it's not the Attitude Era.
So you're preferring how the women's wrestling is?
Oh,
sweet. Excellent.
Well, they're going beautifully. I mean, like, that's all you can say about it. It's like you haven't seen such good women's wrestling in a Western promotion since Alundra Blaze. You know, and well, to be fair, and Medusa, same person in WCW. You know, like we're seeing matches that, you know, are harking back to Bull Nakano versus Alundra, which is a great little match, and they do it again in WCW, same spot, fucking excellent.
Sarah behind the camera's nodding her head because she's big into this, so it's like she's kind of not in agreement to the things John's saying. So
that's cool. Well, that's the thing. The women's wrestlers that are coming in and the indie women's wrestlers are doing interesting, exciting things. The boys, some of them are kind of being revealed as the spot monkeys that they always were. Yeah. You know, so there is that thing where you go, golly, AJ Styles versus Shinsuke. That'll be a dream match. Oh, it's still going.
Still going.
Yeah, it's that thing of going, Jesus, the most effective thing he did was hit him in the nuts.
Yes.
That's upsetting. You know? You don't want that.
I enjoyed that. I don't know why I enjoyed it when he did that. I don't even know. There was the evil part of me just enjoyed it for no reason whatsoever.
Yeah, I just go, look, man, I don't know. It didn't. You reach that point of being a wrestling fan where you're like, yeah, I mean, that hit to the nuts was okay. I mean, it was no China hitting Pat Patterson that time. You know, it was no Chris Jericho kicking Shawn Michaels, which upset my wife greatly and genuinely made her so angry she had to leave the room.
Seriously.
That was the best. She was like, you don't mess with the handshake. You know, that great job. Boom. Oh, she was so angry.
Jesus.
And to be fair, with those guys as well, right? The other night I watched WCW Slamboree, I think 1998, which They have a 15-man cruiserweight battle royal, which has no real build-up. But the winner is going to fight Chris Jericho. And a Mexican wrestler the crowd are sort of familiar with but don't really care wins. Jericho gets in the ring, he unmasks, and it's Dean Malenko, and the crowd loses their fucking minds. The guy's outfit is so ridiculous, he's literally dressed as a fucking pumpkin. And then Dean Malenko, dressed as a pumpkin, wrestles a heroic babyface match against Chris Jericho and wins. And I was sitting there, and my housemate's like, this is wrestling. Like, fuck yes, it's wrestling. It's preposterous, there was effort, and it still fucking worked.
Yes.
You know? Whereas, yeah, guys who it's like, I work a more believable style. Yeah, stop it. Stop it at once.
Entertaining.
It's gonna be
entertain the people. It's
Yeah.
no one believes it's is real. You're watching it for entertainment value.
This is my thing, right? If it's just athleticism, I'm going home.
Yeah.
And if it's just showmanship with no physicality, a la The Undertaker will now, for your viewing pleasure, walk to the ring for the next 5.5 minutes.
Yeah.
This
is what I did.
We hope you enjoyed 2.5 minutes of him versus John Cena. I know I didn't. And now 4.5 minutes of him walking back up to the ring, back out wearing less clothing.
There was more footage on Botchamania.
Yes, indeed.
Of him missing John Cena, but John Cena all of a sudden just reeling back as if he'd been smacked in the face.
Yeah.
Well, you know.
Oh, he hit him with his charisma, mate.
Oh, yeah.
With his charisma.
Right before you go for your bus.
Oh, and I am.
Tell everybody
This
about...
is how well the career's going. He's got to go get the bus home.
Yes. It's all good. It's all good. Tell everybody about the upcoming dark, which I've only found out tonight. The upcoming.
Signed an NDA. This bit won't be in.
So, thank you very much for agreeing to the interview this
It's
evening, my
been
friend.
a great pleasure.
It's always been fantastic seeing you up. You know.
Oh, it's
a fantastic show.
It's been a joy. Also, I have noticed. I mean, obviously, this would be probably a good time to chroma key in a better venue.
Just for my own personal pleasure, will you please do the welcome that you used to do on Video Game Nation with the camera, please? Just go on. Go on.
Now you gotta. There's the camera there. Right. So you gotta with this. Right. You gotta judge the distance to the camera correctly, because what it is, you get hello television friends, high def, high five. Right. Which of course, had I gotten it wrong, would have been this. Hello television friends, high def.